And we're live. Just going to let
Oh, there we
YouTube do
go.
its thing. We'll let YouTube do its thing where it pushes the notifications out for a minute. I'm just going to get this on here so I can see what's going on there. I'm just going to get this on here so I can see what's going on there. Oh God, that's my phone. My phone. Technical issues. There we go. So let's get this up here. If I get this here, this is just the beginning bit of the video, and nobody's normally here at this point. So we're just
Everyone's watching that Married at First Sight, aren't they?
yeah, they
Is that
are.
on tonight?
That's exactly what's happening. Yeah, just pick the wrong time.
Everyone's
Let's
watching
just choose that down there. There we go. Right, just say some quick hellos to the chat. Matt's in. Project Games is in. I think you've spoken to him, haven't you? Rob Butler.
I believe I have.
And Mandy and a few others. So before I kick off, this is Ayrton, the man who's trying to get me from flab to fab. I mean, I think it's working a little bit, don't you?
I agree.
I think he's got a challenge on his hands because most of you guys already know what I'm like anyway. I think I've been quite easy on him. So now what I've done is I've decided we're going to get Ayrton on to talk about my journey, what we're doing, how we've got so far. What are we into it, like a month now or something? If that, 3 weeks?
Yeah, about 3 weeks, just short of a month, yeah.
Yeah, and I've got 3/4 of an ab now. I had half an ab the other day. And yeah, that's basically what we're here for today. So we're going to let the chat join in. We're going to let, if you want to just introduce yourself or talk a little bit about what it is you do in a quick synopsis.
Yeah, so I am an online coach. A lot of the time people think that they need like an in-person PT or they don't even want anyone to help them. But I've been an in-person PT for almost 10 years and then about 2 years ago moved online, past year, gone fully online. And the results that you get and the speed that you get them and how people retain them, it's night and day difference. If you have an in-person PT, you might see them for an hour a week. And in that session, you have to discuss how the week's been, do the session. You generally have a bit of a chat as well. And it's a lot to cover in that one session. If you forget to ask something, it's another week, as opposed to having an online, where it's backwards and forwards. I mean, we speak all week and then have the bigger check-in at the end of the week, but it makes a big difference to how quickly you can get things answered.
Yeah, and you are really quick to answer, to be fair. Sometimes I feel a bit weird about messaging you, but then I'm like, that's his job, is all right. It'll be fine. And he does, he responds. And he's never once had a shitty tone with me. It's always been kind of sound. He does sound exactly like John Luke. Most of you will realise. Well, my missus thinks this guy thinks you sound like John Luke. So is that John or Ayrton? But yeah, Ayrton's really quick. So for me, I struggle with the in-person stuff. I've tried that before. The last fitness plan that I did was something very similar to what I've done with you, which was he wrote a plan for me, told me what to do. There was no check-ins, there was no writing down, no logging and stuff. And it worked better than the in-person thing. Now, this is like an extra step further because the app that you've created to work with your business, it's like something, when John told me there's an app for it, I was like, oh, it's going to be one of them janky little apps where it's like a free download when you get something, like from a whatever company. And I opened it up and how comprehensive it is, it's almost like you're the bonus, not like the app is, everything's in the app and you're like on-hand bonus kind of. There's a message section. It's got a chat feature in it. You can send GIFs, everyone.
And voice notes.
And voice notes. So, yeah, basically, you've got that platform now. You've got that. Well, you can tell them about the app, to be fair. You know about it more than I bloody well do.
Yeah, so I had a different version of it originally to start with.
All links are down below, by the way. Everything that I'm talking about today, you can find in the description. Sorry, Ayrton, I forgot to say that.
No. Yeah, no. So I had another app originally, and it was a bit too fiddly. My mum and dad needed a bit of help in getting them getting in shape, and I tried to use it for them, and it was just not happening. And I see them in person, so it was kind of like I needed to change something. So by making this new one, I mean, the app is literally just the platform, because it's online. The app is literally just the platform that I deliver what we do to you on. So making that as like easy and as comprehensive and as streamlined as possible just makes it a lot easier. And that's kind of the idea of it. I want to take things off your plate, not just with food, but I want to take I want to take stuff off your plate. So by making it as easy as possible, it's not a blag to, open up and check what you need to do. It's all in there. Like you say, you've got the messenger service. We look at your training, nutrition, look at the habits and, in the task area.
I wonder if I can bring up a quick little, I don't know if the camera will see it very well. So when you, fuck it, I don't mind showing that, to be fair. So in the app here, look across the bottom here, you've got the coaching guide, the steps guide, the food guide. Every time you click something else happens. I mean, there's a messenger. I better not show you that just yet.
And then we've got the on-demand section as well, which is fully customized to what you're after at the minute. With different recipes and different eat-out guides and what have you.
Yeah, I'm not trying to sing the praises too high, falsely. I'm just saying that the app, when you got me to download it, I was like, what the fuck is this? As in I genuinely thought it was going to be something like a little notepad-y type thing. No, it's really, really good. And obviously you can change it and adapt it to whatever you need. And that's kind of what I need. The app is basically having you there 24/7.
It's like a PT in your back pocket.
That's probably that. Yeah, that's the best way to explain it. So, and you can do that with, I don't know, however many clients you've got. You can just be in everyone's back pocket, get you jingling around with the change when they need you.
That's the one.
So, and the reason why I wanted to give this a go was because of my lifestyle and what I do. I am constantly 24/7 on the go. I work through my lunches, I work through my breakfasts, and then I'll just binge eat in the evening. Now, I think I don't know if you've got progress photos there, but when I first started, I'm still not looking great, but I'm getting there. I didn't realize just how out of shape and how most of my biggest comments that I get on my YouTube videos at the moment is how slim my face is. So something's obviously working. I didn't realize that the way that I was living my life, just constantly drilling eBay, constantly drilling YouTube, going out and doing bits and whatever else, and skipping all the meals and then getting to the end and eating 4,000 calorie meals in one sitting was doing to me until the Mancunian Thor came along.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of a habit that you yourself, and when we've discussed it, it kind of fell into, and a lot of people that are busy and obviously that work for themselves do, because when you work for yourself, if you're not working, you're not earning.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
So it's dead easy to put yourself kind of on the back burner rather than put yourself forward, and it's like you say, it's dead easily done. But then by the time you get to the end of the day and you've not eaten anything, flipping heck, and then you just plow through the cupboard in the fridge, have everything on site, then it knocks on, doesn't it? Because then the following day you're feeling a bit crap because of the food that you've eaten, and it rolls on.
But I didn't realize how crap I was feeling, though. I didn't realize it. Just to me, I was just living a miserable life, and that was just normal to feel like that. So
yeah, exactly.
I've realized, oh shit, I was feeling so shit because of what I was eating.
And it's John said the same thing to me just the other day when we were talking to him. He said the exact same thing. So they had a bit of food out, and it wasn't the best food. We merged it in, because you still want to have a life. But him and Shah were saying afterwards how they can tell how the body reacts to having crap food as opposed to having better food, just in how you feel and how you function. And then I'm not sure if it's happened with you as well, but you feel like more cognitively switched on as well. So I don't know how that transfers over to. So like when you're doing your work, you end up getting through more and get more done because you're more switched on, which is again a good kind of rabbit hole to go down.
Yeah, brain fog kind of dissipates with the diet.
Yeah, definitely.
You haven't got me eating. Right, I think there's some stuff going on in the chat. I think there's some mods that are dealing with that. Thank you very much. Yeah,
interesting to see the hate comments as well. It's all good.
No, they're just having a go at each other in the chat. What was I going to say to you? Shit.
About the brain fog we were saying.
Yeah, brain fog dissipates, and it wasn't. I actually lost my train of thought there. I had something else to say, but I think I'll have to move on from that one because I completely forgot what it was I was saying. I'm glad you lot in the chat are dealing with it yourselves because I can't deal with that. So there's some mods in the chat. Matt's in there. I'll make some other people mods as well. You keep smashing them. Yeah, break. Oh, that was it. That's what I was going to say to you. The thing is about the food that you've got me, even though I am a sucky vegetarian who we are going to try that tin of tuna soon, by the way. The food that you've got me eating isn't expensive, hard to find, exotic, herb of this and whatever of that. It's all stuff that I can go and pull off the shelf in Sainsbury's is my local, so don't judge me. It's just the closest. It's all stuff that I can just go pull off the shelf. If I was a meat eater, it's like chickens and vegetables and salads and greens and whatever else you could have. Obviously, you've got options for more of that kind of stuff as well. But when I'm the food I've been having at the moment and the food options I've got available to me, I can probably go and get it in a corner shop.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is. That's the thing, that the easier and more straightforward we can make it for you, then the less of an excuse you've got not to do it, and the easier it is for you to do. With yourself being a sucky vegetarian at the minute, like we've manipulated a few things around, haven't we, and changed a few things, and then you've given me feedback as to what stuff that you haven't. So I'm like going to the bacon. You weren't a fan of that that fake bacon. We give it a crack. Didn't like it, so we changed it. And then, like we just mentioned yesterday, how we're wanting to get the food, because obviously we put you on certain food to check and see how your body would react to the calories that we're on first, and then also the amount of protein, fats, and carbs, and see what your body likes to run off better. And with the ADHD, we can do that for a few weeks, and then you're wanting to, change it around. But now we're in a position where we know how you react to these certain things. We can play around a bit more with like the variation of what we can include. So it's kind of just going along with where you're at and making it suit you. The worst thing that you can do, and I see it happen quite a lot of the time, is people will have a framework that works. Like I've seen other coaches have it. Generally, it's on a spreadsheet, which isn't as good as how I do it. But they'll have a framework that does work and is like it does work. But if I had a framework that worked perfectly and gave it to you, but then also gave it to everybody else, then it might work. But if you can't stick to it, it doesn't fit into you. But instead of me making you try and fit into my framework, I make my framework fit around you, type of thing.
And that is what you do, and which is one thing I found very strange, or what I felt almost awkward about it. I felt like you was, because I'm not used to it, I felt like you was doing way more than you needed to regarding fitting yourself into my needs. Does that make sense? And I was
I get
what the fuck, man? Like, he knows what I'm doing. He's gave me this, and I've come back at these things, and he's now trying to refit himself into my needs to make it more fluid. So yeah, it's a good point you make there. I'm glad you're aware of it, at least.
Yeah, and alongside it, I mean, you as well as being a coach, which is first focus and getting you the results that you want and making sure that not only you get them, but you learn how you got them, so you never lose them in the future. Because that's a big one as well. You don't want to ever have to get someone else again. You want to be able to know how you've done it, and then you can pass that on to family and friends and kids. You teach them how you've done it and what's better. So by doing it like that, I think it makes a big difference in how you maintain it long term as well.
Yeah, there's lots of things I've learned since being under your guidance that I would take with me again. One of the main things I've learned is portion sizing. I think that's a trap that a lot of us fall into. Again, especially busy reselling, entrepreneurial type people who just work all the time. Portion sizing is one of the biggest things that I'm going to take away from all of this. When the day that you go, right, here's your wings, clip your wings, ta-da, crack on, that's going to be one of my biggest key things.
I mean, it's a tricky one as well with like how people market things. So when you go into the shop and you buy like you buy a meal deal, for example, and you get a butty, you get a packet of crisp and a drink, and you read it and you think, oh yeah, that sounds good. Protein's all right. Salt and whatever might be a bit high, but you think, no, it looks all right. But then if you dive a bit deeper into things as simple as a meal deal and you realize, right, that butty says there's 200 calories a serving, and you look into it and there's like 2 servings in the pack.
Yeah, you're
and then
supposed
your
to have half
crisp.
a sandwich. Yeah.
Yeah, you're supposed to have half a butty, and then the crisp are the same. There might be 3 servings in a bag of crisp, and then you're going, hang on a minute, I've had 3 times the amount that I thought I was having just from my meal deal.
Don't forget your can of Coke that you get, which is normally 2 servings or whatever it bloody well is.
Yeah, and it's a bit cheeky. It's just how manufacturers and salespeople kind of do it, which I think is a bit cheeky, and they should be a bit more straightforward with it. But it's one of those things that they do, and you kind of have to just learn to navigate.
Yeah,
but
and figure it out.
You don't realise all the time, do you?
Nope, not everyone does. I didn't. I was shocked when I started seeing about serving size. I was like, I'll have 2 of them in a sitting. He was telling me one's for 2 people, one's for 2 servings. That's 8 servings, mate.
Yeah. And then, but it's like we've mentioned in the past as well, like when you went on holiday, it's important to be able to, I mean, looking great and feeling great is great, but if you do that at the expense of not being able to have birthday cake with your kids, or not being able to have a pizza when you go on holiday, it's like, is it really worth it? And I'd probably argue not. It's having that balance and finding a way to fit in exactly what it is that you enjoy doing in a way that's not gonna stitch you up. And it's, I think it's important to look at that side, like the life side of things as well.
Yeah, you are quite lifestyle driven when it comes to the focus on keeping us on track and what we're doing. You do consider lifestyle quite a lot.
Because I mean, it's not just it's not just an overnight fix. It's a long-term change that you want. Because if you want the results, we could get you the results dead quick in a not very maintainable way. But if you want to have like a more long-term habit reset and lifestyle change, then by taking our time a bit more with it and learning along the way, just means that it sets you up for a win.
Yeah, like I say, you can take it with you at the end. It's going to stay with you. If you crash coursed your way to a 6-pack, it's going to disappear in no time, and you're not going to have learned anything along that period when it's time to part.
Well, that's the one. And then it's so, like, for certain things, I mean, you'll get people watching your channel as well, that want kind of hints and tips and tricks of stuff that you've learned and that you know and that they don't, as well as watching it just because it's good. But the stuff that you've learned, people will take that away, and it's kind of like having someone that's already done it. So I've been doing it for like 10 years. Before that, I was training myself from being a young age, and every single thing that you can think of that you might have done wrong or you might be doing wrong, I've done it. So like, having a bit of an eating disorder when I was younger to get into a certain weight for fighting means that I can now see that in other people. I can see if they're having bad relationships with food, which again isn't great for long-term success. And it just means that it's easier to kind of weed them things out.
I was going to bring it onto that. I was going to say, like, because obviously you've got quite a history when it comes to I'm not going to. It's up to you if you share or not. You've got a lot. You've gone through many of the loopholes, many of the downs, many of the dips through many different reasons, and some of them more severe than most, which gives you that I know what I'm talking about because I've been there kind of.
Yeah, definitely. So like you mentioned with the different things. So like the bulimia when I was younger was one for fighting, and then through fighting, the pituitary gland got broken, so my hormones were out of whack, which means that people will come to me now and say that they think their testosterone is low, and it very well may be, but then they tell me that mine was non-existent, so mine completely went. And it's not coming back by the looks of it. Blood test said the other week. So like I'm on TRT now, probably forever, by the looks of things. But what that does is I can kind of give other people an idea of how it works and what happens and how much to take and all these different things, and how to get in, how to, if you feel like it is low, how to kind of start to find out if that is the case, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because
I've who to speak to.
Yeah, exactly. I know. That's another point. I'm supposed to have spoken to Thingy. I know. I just realised about that. You told me about that 2 weeks ago. Yeah, because for a while I was on TRT. I was doing it a lot differently to you, because I was doing heavy amounts of steroids in my 20s. I bulked up, got massive, like proper steroids, and then I stopped taking them, lost all the size, whatever else, and then during my mid 30s, where I am now, up until even a year ago, I was on TRT, 1 ml of test a week, but I was injecting that. That's horrible.
Yeah.
I hate it. I think there's other forms like gels.
Yeah. There is gel. That's what I'm on. I'm on the topic. In
Yeah,
fact,
you're
I'll
on
tell
the
you
gel.
what.
I didn't want to say that. I was leading you into it because I didn't want to give your personal stuff out. I'll let you give that out.
Yeah, no, I don't mind. I'll tell everyone anything. If they ask me, I'll tell you. So I'll show you.
You get it from the doctor, don't you? That's what I want. Men.
I'll show you exactly. So I don't know what I should and shouldn't show on this. I'll cover my stuff. But like that, can you see that? Is that?
There you go.
So that is the stuff that I'm on, and it is
on the shoulders.
Pretty tricky. Yeah, well, I mean, you can rub it. You can put it anywhere that's. You can put it anywhere that's like big patches of skin. So you can do it on your legs, or you can do it on your shoulders. You just have to bear in mind that you might grow extra hair in these places if you do. So like, I got told that if I was to put it on my shoulders, don't give anyone a piggyback until with bare skin. Don't give anyone a bare skin piggyback until it's dried, because if you pick someone up, then they're probably going to start getting hairy legs.
So if I was to get my hands on gel and do it on the shoulders, don't be giving Ada piggy carries. She'll have hairy legs.
That's the one.
But that's that's also something for the men to think about, isn't it? Obviously, like, you're knowledge in all that kind of stuff as well. You know about the supplements, you know about the low tests, because you've been through it.
Well, that's it.
Oh, live stream.
No, yeah, that's it. It's and with the other stuff as well, you know, it's sometimes it can be, because like we mentioned, a coach first, but you end up kind of building friendships out of it as well. If you think how much we communicate, you end up becoming friends to an extent.
I would like to think that when our coaching is done, I'm not going to delete you out of WhatsApp and whatever else. I'll still check in and I'm like, bitch, I just lifted 120 raw.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, and it is like that. So by, you know, being able to empathize and be able to kind of say, oh, I've been there and done that, it's easier for people to say, I'm feeling a bit like this might not be right, because they know that I've dealt with it, and it's a judgment-free zone. Yeah.
Let's have a quick catch up with the chat while we're here. I don't want the chat to feel completely annihilated. I'll let you have a little read as well and show you what it's like on a live stream. A lot of them will be removed now. I think there was just, you know, I had no idea you were on Steads. Rackle. I'm guessing you mean Ricky. You need something. Retro Sheller wants to put test gel on his head. See if it makes his hair better.
see, it might do. Double whammy.
Thanks for coming in, John. Thank you, Mark. AAK, how much does a coaching cost? So it does. Yeah, how much does the coaching cost? We've got links down below and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I mean, it does vary depending on obviously the level of coaching that you're after, and also the duration. And there's different payment options as well to suit different people. So there are different options. I have recently just started. I've just opened up for a few people asking me a smaller, more condensed version, which is where you don't get full access to like what we do, but you do get the training plans, and it's an unlimited amount of training plans, which I sent across actually. So that'll be down.
Is that just training or training and meal plans?
So that is just training, but
for people who know what they're doing with the kitchen, who have no idea about the gym, or some idea about the gym, that's going to be good for them.
Yeah, well, it's pretty good for everyone because there's beginners, there's intermediate, there's advanced, different things in there, different focuses on what you want. There are a few nutrition guides in there extra, but it's mainly the training program side of things, and that starts at $14.99 a month, so it's like less than 50p a day. Then on the other side of it, when we go into like the full coaching side of things, where you get absolutely everything, and on top of absolutely everything that we've already said, you get a care package each month. So that could be, say for example, you couldn't be asked buying your own supplements. You wanted your protein powder, pre-workouts, creatine. You might want some gym wear. You might, whatever it is where we're up to. If you're struggling with sleep, it could be something like blue light cancelling glasses. Depending on where you're up to with what you want, you get a care package effectively every single month. So that goes all the way up to £300. So it starts from like 50p, less than 50p a day, and it can go up to 300 quid a month. So it depends on
where you are. Yeah.
And then, I do it like I've mentioned to you in the past. I get everyone on a Zoom call before we go ahead with any of the coaching.
And that's the thing I wanted you to mention. So you don't just talk about the reason why you do the Zoom call at the very, very beginning.
So the reason I do it is because I've got a community of. So when you come aboard, obviously we've got our communication, and then on top of that we've got community forums as well. So people will share like the wins, they'll share recipes, they'll share what they've been up to, type of thing. So we had one guy that started, and he couldn't walk to the end of the street, and he's just done Snowdon in the middle of the night as a charity walk. So there's loads of different things that people share in. So I'm more concerned about I'd rather have a smaller group of bang on people than 1,000 dickheads. And I want to make sure, because I am not the right coach for everyone, and I'm well aware of that. In the same way that not every person is the right client for me. They'll get more out of it from someone else, because if we don't, we even spoke about this when I spoke to you before we went ahead with things, that I like to use it to make sure that like we're on the same level and we're gonna get along, because if we get along, it makes it miles easier to do everything else. So by doing the face-to-face Zoom call before, to get a good feel for exactly what it is that you want.
The Zoom call's free, right?
Yeah, there's no cost in that at all. And then even if by the end of it, so it usually takes about, I'd say at the absolute minimum, it's probably 25 minutes really, because we have a good chat about exactly what it is that we're after. But by the end of it, we have a good feel as to if we're a good fit. And then if you don't want to go ahead with it, we'll have gone through ideas that you can start implementing immediately after, that you can start doing on your own. In terms of how to tweak your nutrition and your training plans. So it's like we say, it's completely, the Zoom call is completely free.
That's how I felt after the Zoom call. I felt like I thought, do I need this guy now?
Yeah. Well, it gave us a better place to start with, because we'd already had that. We already we know each other a bit more than.
Yeah. And I said to you, didn't I, on the Zoom call, like, I know that you're doing Zoom calls to see if I'm the right client for you.
But you wanted to vet me as well.
I was very honest with you and said, and I want to see if you're the right coach for me. And that's what the Zoom call does. I could have gone away. Ayrton could have been like, yep, really like this guy. Nice, let's do it. Let's work with him. And I could have been like, nah. And that's all happened before anything's done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it could have been vice versa as well. I could have been like, yeah, Teddy, keep it up.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it is important to have that like relationship there as well. And then off the back of you and John coming aboard, one of your subscribers has come aboard as well. Steve, he's actually currently he's in Marrakesh at the minute. So we're
tailoring to kebabs.
Tailoring to kebabs, that's the one. Yeah, keeping an eye on where he's up to and making sure that it's as easy for him to do and enjoy his holiday. And he's So he's what date did he come on now? He's been on probably just over 2 weeks, and he's already 5 kilos down.
Go on. I must be approaching 5 kilos.
Yeah, I think you are now. Actually, definitely.
I think I am. I was
pretty positive you are.
I was 9. My first entry, I put in wrong. I put in 89 kilos when I wasn't. I was 96, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that. I'm now like hovering between 89 point something and 91. So it keeps doing this.
Yeah, so that's when we have a play around with things and get things going in the right direction again. But like as you progress in the gym, you start building a bit more muscle up, and then we have to.
Our shoulders coming back.
That's the one. Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good.
You might as well quit now, by the way, because all we need to do is move more and eat less. Come on, that's true.
It is true.
It is a simple concept. It's easy to say that, and it is a simple concept. But it depends what you want out of it, doesn't it?
It is, and the thing is, eating healthy.
I'm going to read them all. I'm getting enough. We're just conversing. That's all. I promise. I'm going to do some big Q&As towards the last section. I'm going to go through them all and click you all out.
Yeah. So
fantastic job, you see. So I don't need to do anything.
But like we've mentioned in the past, eating healthy is not the same as eating for fat loss. So if you want fat loss, just because you're eating healthy food doesn't mean that's what you're going to get. So I can't remember whose name that was, but like they said, move more, eat less. Yes, to an extent, but at the same time, you'll never out exercise a poorly constructed There you go. You'll never out exercise a poorly constructed diet, and a lot of the time, the food that you eat, like you've already noticed, changes how you feel. It's not just about eating less, it's about fueling your body and get to be able to get the most out of it, rather than just going, I'm going to cut out carbs because I want to lose a few kilos. And it's like, yeah, you probably will lose a few kilos if you cut out carbs, but I bet you miss the carbs, and I bet as soon as you start eating them again, it piles back on. So
yeah, I've never eaten so much salad. I feel like crystal clear while I'm drinking.
It does make a difference. Yeah. But like we say, it's about having the balance as well, isn't it? Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, it's about balance, and obviously trying to implement that. And I think that was one of the most important things that I've taken away from our nearly a month so far together, is finding that balance and realizing how unbalanced I was in my diet, in my training, in my sleep. My sleep's got a hell of a lot better. Even though I do take melatonin, that's never going to change. I'm going to take that for the rest of my life. That's my safety net. I'm waking up less and I'm staying asleep longer. And
yeah, so that
has to be down to the diet as well.
Yeah, 100%. And that's another massively neglected part of things, which is sleep and recovery. So like, if you work for yourself and you've got the stress. Yeah. So if you've got the extra stress of knowing that if you don't work, or if it doesn't go to plan, then you've not got the income that you need. So when you work for yourself, you might be more stressed than if you were to have a 9-to-5 office job, where once it's 5 o'clock, you can do one, you don't have to worry about it. So with the stress of like work and family, and then also the stress that you put on your body with poor nutrition and like lack of being outside, lack of moving around and what have you, we can increase your cortisol, which is your stress hormone. Yeah. And then as a result of that, if we don't get your recovery dialed in, then what cortisol does is it makes us want to not build muscle and hold on to fat because we're stressed. So by manipulating how we recover, it might be a case of, I want you to do less. It might be like, right, stress is too high, I've got all these other things happening, we're not doing a couple of these gym sessions this week, and you're going to go, hang on a minute, I need to do these gym sessions, otherwise I'm going backwards. And then you don't do them, you give yourself time to recover. The following week you go, bloody hell, fat's come down, muscle's gone up, what's happened there? Which is exactly what happened to someone who's on with me called Jason last week. We had to bring his stuff down because he was too the stress was too high with his job and work and all the other stuff. We've manipulated it and it's back working. So
fair play.
Like you say, it's a big one though, sleep and recovery.
Yeah, you do get it from NHS actually. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that is true. So like,
if you listened, he did literally say he has no testosterone as well, and you can get it with low testosterone, not just no testosterone.
Yeah, so I'm not entirely sure. I can't remember off the top of my head the actual units that it's measured in, but for people my age, the
Ayrton's 50, by the way. So
I'm 50 years old.
See his stuff works.
Yeah, so for people my age, I'm 26. So for people my age, the testosterone should be between 8 and 30 on the scale. So I went to the doctors because I felt like I was walking through syrup, but I didn't really realize it at the time. The straw that broke the camel's back was that my willy stopped working. If you want to get down to it.
I didn't want to say it. I was letting you get there.
Yeah, so it didn't work. So I'm pretty open about things. So I had a conversation with my mum, and she was like, "Yeah, you probably need to get that checked." So I got it checked, got my bloods done. The doctors turned around and they said, so I did my bloods. Then they called me back and they were like, "I think something's gone wrong with the test. Let's get you back in and do the bloods again." So I was like, "Right, yeah, no, sweet. Let's go back in." So I had them done again, and they were like, "Right, so it seems like we've not done it wrong. It's actually right." So when I first went, my testosterone was 4. Then the second time I went for the second lot of blood because they thought they'd done it wrong, it came back as 3. So it had gone down in that like 4 weeks between. So from there, they sent me to another more specialised hospital in Huddersfield with the endocrinologists, where they did another blood test. And then at that time, mine came back as 1. So in the scale of 8 to 30, I had 1. So I turned around to him and I was like, so 8 to 30 on this scale is what I should be having. So what does 1, is that like girl level or is that like child level? And he went, no, that's probably like less than female level testosterone. So I was like, fab, let's get this sorted.
No wonder you're all like this.
Yeah, exactly. So off the back of that, so this is what you can expect if you do go and get your bloods done, and it is low. So off the back of that, he had a feel of my nuts and said, right, your nuts are all right, so we're going to send you for a brain scan, because your nuts produce testosterone, but there's also a gland in your brain called your pituitary gland that produces it. So I got sent for a brain scan because he thought that I'd have a tumor on this gland, and if I had, then that would have meant that I had 5 years left to live. So my mum, being a Googler and a worrier, smashed out Google and found all this out. I didn't Google because I thought, well, if I've got that, then what's the difference? Because I can't do anything about it. So I got the scan. The scan came back clear. They went, right, no, it's odd. It's just kind of stopped working. So I went back to the endocrinologist. He deals with professional rugby players and people all over. And it seems like because so you can get brain damage just from, like, you can get hit in the stomach and get your head shake and you get brain damage. You can get, what's quite bad for it, as I found out, is jet skis. So if you bash jet skis, that constant jerking, which I wasn't doing because it wasn't working, but that constant jerking would like affect your brain and affect give you brain damage pretty much. Yeah. So it turned out that it looked like from fighting and being punched in the head and holding pads for big people and being kicked for all them years had damaged this gland, which meant that I was no longer producing testosterone. So this was coming up to 2 years ago, and then off the back of that, started the testosterone. Like I said, it can be quite hard to get hold of. So while we were finding out the dosage that I needed to be level, so people go, "Oh, you're on steroids," and it's like, well, I suppose technically, yeah, but I'm on steroids to be normal. So like I'm aiming between 8 and 30 is where I want to be. So I'm aiming for like 12, 15, which is bang on in the middle, more or less. So we have to kind of find the same way that we do with you, and we're finding out how calories and certain levels of different things affect your body. You have to find out how much would affect me. So there was a bit of toing and froing because it's hard to get hold of. Then they changed which one I was on, which meant that this one absorbed in a bit better than the other one did. So I had to bring my dosage back down and get my bloods done. So this was probably a month and a half ago. I got my bloods done after another 6 months. It turned out that they'd taken mine too low. So now my testosterone was back at 5, which isn't ideal.
Yeah.
So now I'm upped it slightly, and I'll be going for another blood test in December to check that I'm exactly where I need to be. So there is a bit of to-ing and fro-ing, but it gets you there. And if you're low or if you've not got it, then you'll probably know. And have you ever seen the film Limitless?
Yeah, of course I have. NZT. Come on.
So when he take that how it looks on that film when he takes the pill and everything goes HD.
NZT.
That's when he takes how it all goes like vibrant though, when it goes from being 4 days it took from taking testosterone to everything looked and felt like that. It felt like I'd been walking through syrup, but not realised.
Yeah.
So it is a big one.
Yeah, not everyone's going to obviously encounter that, but it is something for the males of the stream. When anybody listening and thinking about it, something to think about is, especially when you start approaching. I mean, you was a bit of an anomaly situation. Let's face it. Like people at my age, when you start approaching your 30s and 40s, it drops and goes and goes.
It does.
And when I was taking 1 ml a week of testosterone, I felt fucking amazing. Not just my libido is fine regardless. I don't suffer there, thankfully, just yet. So hopefully, touch wood, I'm all right. But just within myself, my drive, my energy, my wanting to do stuff, my ability to take on tasks. Once I had that in my system, it was all there. It wasn't like cycle doses. It was just small. So that's something for the men of the stream to think about, especially if you're old like me, not young and an anomaly like Ayrton. 26.
But the good thing is that I know I waffled on a bit with where I'd come from with the testosterone that, but you don't. Not everyone has to take it. Like there's stuff that you can do. Cut down on the cocaine and Viagra. Yeah, nice. Make sure I do that.
Never.
The good thing is though, you can increase it naturally. So by training and getting your diet dialed in and getting your sleep and recovery on point, you can increase these levels naturally without having to take anything externally. So you can get some of the benefits without actually having to go down that route.
Yeah. No, mine was injectable. So I was getting steroids and I was getting 10 ml vials and I was taking 1 ml a week, self-administered. I was buying the syringes and needles from Amazon. You get in this Sharps box with it as well, and I was doing it that way. I was doing mine because I didn't want to go through the whole rigmarole of do your bloods, try this, get that, do your patches. Because like I said to you, I was against gels. I was like, why are you using gel? Then when you told me about it, you opened my eyes, didn't you? So I said, right, and now I'm going to look into, which I was supposed to have done 2 weeks ago. In some gel. So no, I was doing TRT, by the way, means testosterone replacement therapy. Somebody in the chat said TRT. You're replacing the testosterone you no longer have, or you're losing, or your levels have dropped. So you just top it up, whether it be hopefully NHS, gel, or whatever else options they do, or you've got the way that I was doing it is obtaining testosterone through nefarious ways and places, even though I trust my source, but you're obtaining them from outside of government handing sort of situations and doing it myself. So yeah,
you just want to be careful. Yeah, just doing it that way. You want to be careful and make sure what it is you're taking is what you're getting is what you think you're getting. And also,
you don't want to be doing it that way at all, regardless, to be fair. Like, I don't want to even advocate that, let alone checking everything's what it's supposed to be, let alone checking it's got the right quantities, let alone checking it's done in a sterile environment. That goes without saying. I would not recommend that anyway. I do trust my source, but I'm still like, to me, it's also still you're still an underground lab. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I've not taken it for a year and a half now. I've not done TRT, and I went through the big fucking drop. I felt miserable and horrible. Rode it out because I didn't do any Clomid or anything either. I just rode it out and started finding myself again about 6 months into it. 6 months into being off.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you do it that way, you don't know if you actually are necessarily low in testosterone or you're just unhealthy.
Never thought you'd know. Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of time it can be that you're actually just unhealthy rather than being low in testosterone for a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah, I personally wouldn't take steroids ever again. I would take, even as a class of steroid, I wouldn't take it I wouldn't stack it. I wouldn't take steroids for bodybuilding. Next time I go down the testosterone route, it's purely replacement. But I don't want to. But I'm going to try for the gel this time.
Yeah, well, I've put you on to my endocrinologist anyway.
I just haven't done my end of the deal. That was all.
But that's another thing as well that we've discussed. It's, you know, in terms of having someone with the knowledge and like the contacts to be able to help you go down those routes, and then even stuff like with nutrition and other, you know, supplements and all sorts of different things. If there's anything that I like being asked questions. So if there's anything I don't know, I will find out from a reliable source, and I will get back to you with that information.
Yeah, exactly that. And you come back. Chris said, did I run a PCT? I didn't. Post-cycle therapy, that's what I said I didn't do the Clomid. Even though I was only doing 1 mil a week, I should have still done PCT, but I didn't feel it was enough. Even though it is, I should have done lower doses and brought myself back to natural levels before. Even when I was taking stacks for 3 years, I was running cycles for 3 years. I'm talking steroids upon steroids upon steroids, testosterone upon deca with some D-balls washed down with some napfit. I was doing it all. I still didn't do PCT after that. So that was my mistakes during my mid-20s. You know what I mean? When you want to be this way. The idea of taking steroids now, I didn't do something for bodybuilding and for fitness. Doesn't even come into my head. Don't need it. I'm not living that kind of life now. I do need testosterone now. I'm very sure of it. I know these bloods are going to prove that. But I wouldn't be doing anything like that. I don't need it. Can't imagine Ricky being on steads eating chicken, rice and broccoli. Yeah, I was chicken, rice and broccoli, protein shakes in the morning with my banana blended through, whole meal thins with chicken and no mayonnaise, just dry, and then get into the evening having cottage cheese and pie. Fucking horrible life, mate, but I looked all right. But yeah, like I said, that's not needed now.
No, we can get you looking a lot like what you did look without having to do all that stuff that you didn't like doing.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Yeah, I'm getting to that point again without having spotty fucking shoulders, just oily skin. That's what happened to me. Not, it doesn't happen to everyone. But yeah, this stream's not about obviously taking steroids. It's about health and fitness, and we're just talking about the fact that men, you probably will be approaching low testosterone ages. Some of you in here for sure. I'm not going to name any names. I'm not going to name any names of anyone. I'm not going to name any names of anybody that may or may not be reaching that level.
Yeah, it does come down naturally once you hit 30, like around your 30s, but other things start to creep up on you. So something called sarcopenia will creep up on you, which is where your body wants to get rid of muscle. It wants to eat away muscle. It doesn't want to keep it. So these are the times where we need to start putting a focus on it and making sure that we're maintaining what we've got. Because if you think longevity wise, you want to live as long as you can, and you want to see your kids have kids, and then be able to mess about with you. Yeah, and be able to play with your grandkids and leg it around and be the fit granddad or grandma, and not be, or even fit mum and dad, and not feel like you can't go swimming with them because you're embarrassed to get your top off, or you can't leg it around the playground after them because you physically cannot do it, or like even stuff. Your kid starts legging it towards the road and you can't catch them because you're too unfit. There's all these different things, and by being the best version of yourself means that you can bring the best version of yourself to your business and your family and everything, and everything improves as a result of it.
Yeah, I think that's a nice I think that's a nice synopsis, a nice idea, a nice look at who is Ayrton, what does he do, and what is his ethos. I think most bases I think this is probably like a big Zoom call to like 80 people. You've already done a Zoom call, but you need to see them.
I need to see that.
I feel like you've just dropped knowledge bombs all throughout the stream. I think you just give some good golden stuff away. So anybody, even if they're not looking forward, even if they're not looking for any kind of guidance at the moment, I feel like you've just given a lot that people can still, oh, I like that little nugget, and I'll go and do something with that. So I think before we end the stream, do you have anything that you would like to tap on to the end of it, or do you feel like you've covered things?
I mean, I feel like... Go on, sorry.
Where can people find you and talk to you if they want to maybe book the Zoom call? What's the best way for them to do it?
So I like doing everything through Instagram, at least to start with, and then we go over to, you know, the app and over to Zoom and everything. So Instagram is the best place to catch me on if you're interested. Even if anyone's got any questions now about anything that we've not talked about and they want another little nugget, if I can provide it, fling it in and I'll answer them. But yeah, Instagram is the best place to catch me on.
If they tell you they saw you on the stream, then you'll know who they are.
Exactly. And if you're watching this, if someone's watching it in the future or whatever, if you mention your name, if you message me first, like if you just let me know that you've come via Ricky, then you get 15% off whichever coaching package that you want, and that's like for the duration of your coaching. Doesn't matter which package you get.
15% off. Yeah, go on. Sorry, I'm being salty.
Yeah, no. So that's all. But like anyone else, anyone that, as long as you like, just make sure that you let me know that you've come via Ricky, and you'll get the 15% off as well. But Instagram's the place to catch me on.
It is Instagram for connections. So yeah, as mentioned, everything that we've spoken about, I think we've got your links to Instagram is down below. Links to packages, links to your meal plans and your cookbooks and all those kinds of things. They are all down below. So take a look at that. And anybody else watching in the future, get on it.
Get on it. Put a lot of work into them things down below. So crack on.
Yeah, you do. And I'm going to say this now for anybody who does end up joining. You've heard it here first. You are going to be amazed by once you get access to the app. You're going to be like, this is like Instagram, but for fitness, but only for me. So yeah. All right, Ayrton, thank you for coming on, mate. Don't disappear, because when I end this stream, you stay in the stream yard, because I know you've not been on here before. Don't click any buttons. When I say goodbye, just stay where you are. All right?
Okay, yeah. Thank you for having me.
No, mate, thank you for coming on. I appreciate your chat. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in the gym, I guess. Yeah? Come on!